Hello, I'm Caroline Marshall, and welcome to Bump to Business Owner, the podcast speaking to mums in business, you. I'll be in conversation with some of the most inspiring women and mothers in enterprise about their journey, how they created their successful businesses alongside raising their children, and what that looks like in work and family life. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bump to Business Owner. I'm your host, Caroline Marshall. So I just recorded an episode, clearly doing some batch recording today. Spoiler guys, wearing the same top. For anyone listening, it is a white summery top. I am recording on the hottest day of the year, so I feel like I should be more tanned. But I realised I was recording the episode and looking at myself the whole time. How vain. So I'm going to look at the camera more for this one. I'm literally like, this is what happens when you are recording a podcast back to back because you know you need to get them done because you're not going to have time for the rest of the month. So that is the realities. So anyone starting a podcast out there, just be warned, this is how it goes. You start off being so professional, doing all the right things. I've literally got my ring light just kind of like placed here underneath me. I don't even know if it's working, but at least I've got some natural light here. I hope you enjoy these episodes because actually I've been really enjoying recording them and at least just sharing some tips I've got and just little nuggets. And that I think is the point of these. But if you've got any feedback on me, please share it. You can do it anonymously. As long as it's not mean, I'm very happy to have feedback and what you liked, what you enjoy. I'm really hoping some of this stuff will resonate with you or thinking of bringing new things to your business, or like I'm just trying new things as well. And that is what I want to talk about today because I did mention it in the episode I just recorded, talking about cold selling. So I actually think cold selling in some circles gets a hugely bad rap. I'm going to tell you a little story in a minute, but basically, so I started doing a bit of cold selling and I'm going to jump straight into like the worst thing that happened and it wasn't that bad. Here's so the worst thing that happened was some guy was like, no thanks. I was like, fine, whatever, like great. But he then put a post on LinkedIn going, oh, there's so many people selling and this, it's all about, LinkedIn should be about relationship building. And I agree. Don't get me wrong, I agree. Like the foundations of your business is about relationships and making, being friends with people, being good with people. That is the very basic foundations. But I'm also running a growth business. And how I'm going to sell a service-based business just on relationship building. I think I'm quite good at relationship building, but I'm also a busy mum and I don't have time just to be out there all day. Relationship building, not selling. And I needed to try something new. And anyway, so that was my worst experience, which is great. I'm just going to go in there. If you can relate that wasn't that bad, then maybe you should try cold selling. I'm going to tell you why I didn't like cold selling. And so, I guess on Instagram, so maybe people are like this on LinkedIn and that's fair, everyone each to their own, is Instagram I'm not a fan of when people message me and I think they're just being friendly and I'm like, oh okay, getting to know each other in DMs, like that. I love doing that. Message me, please do. But then it turns out they're selling to me and I'm like, oh, I just don't have time to if you're not here just to build a relationship with me, then I don't really have time for this kind of thing. I will message someone back if they're just being nice, engaging, and I'll do the same back. That's very nice. But most people selling to me on Instagram as well, I'm not in that market. I'm not looking for it. This is the difference I've explained before between this online service-based business world that my agency isn't really a part of. We're VAT registered, where we support kind of more SMEs, not the solopreneurs, online services kind of thing. So it's a bit okay. And I've got a lot of friends in that world, and if I want a service, I kind of know who I'm going to go to with this sort of thing. Word of mouth recommendation, that for that sort of thing for me is king. Oh, and I'm going to tell you a story one time. So one time on LinkedIn, I'm spilling the tea. Someone put up about this, I really want, this was not long after COVID. I like going, I think in-person relationships are so needed. I'm doing a coffee for female founders. And I was like, great, this sounds up my street. Can I join? She was like, yeah, let's hop on a call. I was like, great. That you want to know who's coming. Fair enough. It's a coffee. It's a small thing. And she was like, got on the call and was like, great. So here are the potential outcomes from this call is one, we could be friends. Secondly, after this, it's not for you and, we part ways. And thirdly, like maybe, I can help you and you'll be interested in my services. And I was like, okay, I really didn't think I was getting on a sales call like this today. And then, she started then questioning me about my sales at UpSource and, asking for things like my rate. And I know this. And I was like, it's not bad. It's aligned. I think it was at the time, maybe 30% conversion, which for a B2B business is really good, by the way. And don't have people tell you otherwise. Google it. Let Google tell you the truth, or ChatGPT. Yeah. And she's like, no, that's not very good. And I was like, well, that's okay, right? And it was just very odd because I thought I was meeting her genuinely to get to know her, like the first option she'd given me, and to potentially go for coffee with a bunch of female founders and build relationships. I'd been sold, this was it. I'd been sold relationship building, and then I got given a cold hard sell. So basically, I wasn't in the frame of mind. And at the time, I wasn't looking to, at the end of last year, I was looking for a different sales route. At the time, I wasn't looking for that. So I was on this call for something I think she thought I needed, but I was her target market. But I, at the time, didn't want that. At the time, we were growing at a level that I could cope with. I didn't want this call. And so this is an experience where I just didn't want it. If anyone's getting on a call with me, I want them to, I don't want it to be a waste of either of their time. I'm not going to get on a call with someone until I'm like, okay, you genuinely want virtual assistant services and you've looked us up. So anyway, and then, but we didn't become friends after this, is the long and short. I thought that was an option, was for us to become friends. I really don't mean to diss this person, but it was just a very odd call. So I think things like this can lead up, because I think what was wrong with this was that I hadn't gone on a call. I hadn't gone on a call to be sold to. I'd gone on a call to relationship build. Then I got sold to. And then I also got basically, what's it called? I got criticised as well. So not only that, I was like, no, you're now criticising me, and not without even really understanding what I need, because I've not reached out for you for sales help. I've reached out for you for connection and relationship building, which is what I thought you were selling. So this is when it gets bad rap. What I learned in this process was, what I basically was using LinkedIn and Dripify, and being taught by this coach of how to build a sales process with the format that she's learned in her experience of what works to get sales, and making connection, doing a reach out, and then starting to sell your service. And what I loved about it, what also partly scared me about it, is it's very direct. So unlike my experience before, firstly it was about connecting with people, and then, which it is, everyone I'm connecting with, I do actually genuinely want to connect with. So, they're the target, not just the target market for UpSource, but people I'm genuinely interested. So it might be chief of staffs in-house somewhere, or CEOs and founders. So they're all great people to be connected with, and I need to widen my circle. I'm in my little London bubble. There's only so far sometimes I feel like how I can widen my experience with not just physically going to events. So what I liked about it was very direct. I'm not getting on there pretending to be friends with someone, which I think is the part that gives me the ick. Don't pretend to be friends with me and then do a cold sale. But it is, and then people just say no thank you and you stop. So people are so nice. I think I was prepared that people will be mean, and it's because at the same time, if I get a sales outreach, it's not hard to be no thank you, especially if it's automated, because it just stops. That's what it should. And I think sometimes what I've experienced as well in the past is when people get a bit defensive in response, rather than just being great, that's so cool, that's great, it's not for you. Or someone might be like, I've got a PA, thank you. And I'm like, oh, that's brilliant, you've got a fantastic PA. And just and that's it. And it's not for everyone, this thing, but it's worked, and mostly people are nice. And I tell you, the approach I've had to it is the approach of entering awards and PR. Only the people I contact know I'm contacting them. I was doing this cold sales for 6 months and not really talking about it. This is the first time I've spoken about my experience doing it. And yeah, it felt awkward. And I tell you what, the admin, it was work. I felt, especially with some people, some founders would really get back to me great. Every day I had what we learned from it, because I've done it targeting I've since tested it targeting a different market. And what we learned was this market, like I had an insane open rate and acceptance rate for this group. Like it was double what we'd expect. So that's why I was so busy responding to people, and it was hard. I had to pause it over Christmas, and my husband was like, no, keep going. I was like, I can't, I'm going to get burnt out. Like I can't keep doing this. And also I just didn't take anything personally, and I think that is so key for doing stuff like this, is that I don't want the people, until we're building a relationship, I don't want people to take it personally and get offended that I'm reaching out to them, but vice versa, I am not offended if it's not for them, because I am landing in someone's inbox that they don't know. So I am not offended by that. But also the key is as well, have a bit of fun with it. I've met some great people through it. So genuinely, it's been great for that and widening my network. But also, like, I connected with a guy who's got the same name as my son. So I could say to him, oh, great name. I called my son it. He was like, wow, you've got great naming skills. And it's just like nice to have that little bit of banter and fun with it, to be like, oh yeah, it's nice to read, because my son's name isn't super common, and the way it was spelt was right as well. So it was like having that little bit of fun with it while staying professional. Keep this key here. No sliding. As women, we know what unprofessional looks like in our DMs, but keep professional. But like reframing, I think we can take rejection so hard, and it's because there's lots of research into rejection. It's like feeling the same as being chased, being rejected by the tribe, isn't it? That's it. I've read about, if we were rejected by a tribe, that was terrible for us and we were going to die back in the days of cavemen. And so rejection for us, it can still have that same effect. And I think it's like learning to deal with, like, if you're trying to sell your service to a lot more people, you're not going to be for everyone. And that is absolutely okay. They just don't get it. And maybe they'll come back to you when they get it. So I've really enjoyed doing this. I think, I did the PR thing. It's being consistent, staying on top of it. And I think I see so much of this, actually. This is my little insight for you. I see a lot of people who don't stay on top of comms that they should be staying on top of, and I'm talking about people that I want to buy things from, and they're just not on top of it, and I'm like, I'm trying to buy from you. Stay on top of it. It's one thing if I'm asking for a favor, yeah, put me to the bottom of the list then if we're doing a favor, but if I'm trying to buy, stay on top of it. And it's really surprising how many people don't stay on top of that from the little perspective from mine. And you will get better at doing it. You know, it's new. I was so scared, but we've got to challenge ourselves as business owners, and this is a way that I challenge myself. And it, like I said, it may not be right for what you're doing, right for your service, but or right for you. And maybe Instagram is the best place for you, and I'm sorry if I've offended you with that piece that I don't like to be sold to on Instagram. But unless you're my friend, it's okay if you're my friend and you've reached out with a service. Like, you know, if we've chat loads and we chat informally, like, feel free to sell away to me. I don't mind. So yeah, in my wrap up, it's been successful. I tried something new. I also made new relationships. So also the sales trainer has been recommending us to people. So I've also got some clients from her, which is great. So, you know, and that's it. When you work with other people, you're expanding your network. When you're doing new things, you're expanding your network. And that is what is key. And screw the people that get a little bit offended by your message, because I was being nice, I promise. Thank you so much for listening today. Have you tried cold sales? Tell me about it. I want to learn more. I want to learn about this now. I find it interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to Bump to Business Owner. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please do rate, review, follow, or subscribe wherever you're listening. It really helps us to connect with more mums and business owners. You can DM me on @BumpToBusinessOwner on Instagram, and I'll be back next week.